provide for us, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So you can see in the top corner, I used a tech tool called Screencastify, and I started using it for assessments because I used to teach kindergarten, and there they don't read sometimes, and you got to read the passage to them, and you read it like 25 times. But if you record yourself, you click play. Or if you have a lesson that's really the jam and you want to show your administrator later, you can record it. Or if you have a student that's absent and you're like, hey, we did a really cool lesson. This is the lesson. They can go back and watch it again. So you can set it to have your face or not have your face, but it can record all the things that you have on your screen is what you say. So this is called Screencastify, and you can find that in your Chrome web browser. So that's your freebie number 1, Screencastify. Everything that I'm going to show you is totally free because we deserve free. We need free. We pay for too much stuff. We need free. So to start, you click Start Class. And so this is my first slide that we have here, and I'm going to click past it. This has my credentials. I'm an official consultant with EdTech team, but my normal job is I teach STEM K through 8 at African Center College Preparatory Academy, ACCPA or Southeast, or a lot of names that it's been, but I teach their STEM there. I teach coding as well as their Project Lead the Way program. So this is all what I do, teaching teachers, teaching kids how to use their computers effectively. So I have a lot of different colorful badges, and what you're at this today is what I do for fun. Go to lots of stuff and learn lots of stuff. So like I said, if you have any questions, there's my email, there's how to contact me. If you just Google 3 Trails Mabian, you will find me on lots of different platforms. So I put myself out there. All right, top reasons to integrate tech. My 2 top things that I'm going to present to you today. The first one is for student voice. There's a lot of information and research out there right now that is centered around student voice and how it affects their social emotional learning, and how it can just transform your classroom and the culture of your classroom. So I want to give you 2 titles that we're going to focus on. The second one is teacher efficiency. Now, we want to have all the time that we deserve. We don't want to waste any time. I don't want to stand at the photocopier. I don't want to call 10 parents with the same information. So I'm going to give you lots of resources that you can reclaim your time back for sitting next to the pool and doing nothing. That's really great, just doing nothing. So your student voice and your teacher efficiency. So hopefully you find a tool under one of those categories that you can use. So your first question within your section here is, how comfortable are you with tech integration? So this is your first interaction. If you were one of those 12 people, you're able to drag your dot to where you feel. I'm comfortable with technology. Yes, it's all good in the neighborhood. Or no, slow up. I don't know anything about this. Or I'm kind of in the middle. I'm interested, but I'm not sure. But so you're able to slide your dot, drag your little dot there, and it will show what you put. Nobody is dragging the dot.
Yeah, mine too.
Okay. All right. Everybody get in? Okay. Okay. So these are my sections. Again, for student voice, our options today are going to be Seesaw, Flipgrid. For teacher efficiency, our options today are going to be Google Classroom and Peardeck. So I will let you know that if you have used these before, or if you are familiar with them a little bit and maybe you haven't used them recently, all of them had upgrades this year. So some things on them got really good and much better. And some of the things that maybe you thought weren't so good, they maybe eliminated or changed. So if it was one that you were like, oh, I'm not really sure I'm not getting my bang for my buck, then they've made some upgrades. And all of these tools, they're probably a room full of people about this size that run some of these. And if you email them, if you interact with them and tell them, I hate that, I wish this, they listen to us and they make the changes and they make the upgrades. So always feel like your voice counts. and with any of these developments that we have there. So let's move on. Okay, this is your next thing. Which tool are you familiar with? This will allow you to type in your response. If you are using I don't see anyone using it, like a tablet, that also lets you use a stylus, or if you had those type of technology in your room, you're able to write actually on the device and it will record theirs in there. Because I'm presenting in present mode, and if I was not recording, it would actually show them up here, but the computer's like, hey, you're asking me too much. So it's only going to show your question, but in real time, when you're doing it with your students, you're not going to be recording also. It's going to show me all of everything that you are writing. Okay, our next thing, Seesaw. What is Seesaw and why do I need to use it? I will tell you that I taught kindergarten for 6 years. I start my technology with, as people want to call them, those babies. But those babies had cell phones since they were 2. They know how to use this stuff better than us. So there's not an age limit on any of these things. Like I said, I teach K through 8, and I would use all of these, even the Google Classroom with my K. So I haven't started with early childhood yet. They haven't started coming to me, but my kindergartners, they know how to code and they're with it. So don't be afraid to throw it out there. I will say any of these tools, you can grab those students that are their early finishers, or the mamas in the room, or the bossy kids, the assertive kids, some of the kids that need a little extra things to do because they got a lot of extra energy. Make them be your technology champions. Sit them to the side, or when you take away their recess, Lord forbid, you show them how to use this technology tool, and then they're in charge of teaching all the other kids. And that's just like an amazing experience for them. They're really proud, and it transfers everything. So Seesaw, what is Seesaw? I got a short video. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but I want to give you, so you can see what it's like, and you don't just have to take my word for it. So we're going to watch just a couple of seconds.
Do drawing, they can record, and then have to go a step further and explain their thinking in a way that really cements the learning. Seesaw helps me because it gives me that immediate feedback of how the kids are doing. It helps me find those misconceptions in their lesson, and then the following day to reteach those concepts that were missed.
The Seesaw Activity Library is a go-to almost every single day.
Okay, I'm going to stop there. Like I said, you only get a little bit. If you want more, it's on my presentation, and you can have the whole enchilada. Okay, so Seesaw. That little half pint y'all been seeing run around here, she used to be in my class in 2nd grade. A lot of things that we did, I did it on Seesaw because it was a really bang for my buck. It was a bang for my buck for a lot of reasons. I have these little bullet points here, but I'm not going to talk for them because y'all are highly educated and you can read. What I will tell you is that I use them for math. So we would take our iPads and we would go over to the window and we would take a picture of the window, and I'd say, okay, what's the multiplication problem for that? They would say, oh, there's 1 row and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panes. So that's 1 times 6. And they had their array. So we would go around our building and we would look for something that had a design, and we would figure out how we could make math problems out of that. And that's how we did multiplication. So everything that you do in Seesaw, you can take pictures, like it said, you can write on the screen, you can do all kinds of wonderful things. Each thing that the student uses, they can find their name or their little character, put it in their little folder, and their mommy and daddy can see it as in real time. And a lot of the parents, they comment right back to them, I love what you're learning. You don't have to, some parents have these slips that you want to fill out at the end of the day, and that's time consuming. Who has time for that? In their little behavior folders, and you can, some people do Class Dojo. You need Class Dojo. I found I like Seesaw better because I don't have to just tell what your kid did bad today. And that's a negativity because you're got to earn points. Who wants to earn points all day? How about I just focus on all the good stuff that's going on and we talk about that? If you want to go in later and say, yeah, Johnny had time because he wouldn't share his iPad, something, or, but you can put all their great stuff and you don't have to go in and explain. One thing that I liked about this is that when I got my evaluation and those times come and I was feeling, did I do well? Did my kids do well? I just whipped out my Seesaw and I go, I don't know what you saw in there, but here's some great stuff. And I was able to provide that to my administrator and have that be some of my artifacts. So it's awesome. Parents love it. If you have a permission slip and it never makes it home, you could put that into your Seesaw and it goes to everyone. It's private. So whatever that student gives, it's just private between their parent and you. You can make whatever public. You can say these kids are in a group and these are the parents that I go to. They can comment to each other if you like. But it's amazing. So I love Seesaw. Questions on Seesaw? Yes.
I see that you have Remind. Do you think Seesaw would replace Remind? Because I use that to communicate, but could I do that with this?
You could do that with this. I love everything.
Yeah.
I'm not
But I think
discriminatory.
that
Yes.
I want one.
One thing.
I
Yeah,
feel
some
like
people
that could
want
be
one
it.
thing. I had both.
Okay.
For different reasons, but I think it can replace Remind because you have the kids doing stuff on there versus just the one-on-one communication. Yes.
I discovered Seesaw because my son's teacher in third grade, and it's an app on your phone, and you get emails saying check Seesaw. It is amazing. I can see my son's work, and I'm going to try to use it this fall.
I'm a paperless teacher, so we wrote on our tables in our dry erase marker. They would take a picture of it, and then I could go in and edit it. If they had real paper and we're doing Readers and Writers Workshop, and they're writing an essay, they take a picture of it, and guess what? I don't have to lug all those papers home. I have it and it's available, or they lose it because they weren't really organized. You've got everything that you need already and you don't have to keep up with it. Yes, keep coming.
Have you seen it being able to be used with just a Chromebook?
Yes,
Okay.
because you
I
can
know
take a
that
picture. The Chromebooks now, they have the camera. You can take a picture and it's web-based also. So yes, you can do it with a Chromebook. Don't wait. Ask me what you need as we go along, and because I'm just that kind of person. Let's just be interactive. Yes, ma'am.
What's the best way to communicate with teachers?
I can also collab with teacher on here. So if I have a teacher that's my sped, I can have her be a co-teacher on my account. So when they're in that class, I can see what they're doing and then also use it in my class, or the parents can see back and forth. So we co-teach, you can co-teach with it.
Like for just certain students, you could?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my, that's neat.
Yep. All right, we're going to move on. Y'all like the Seesaw. All right, Seesaw's easy. That's it. It's easy. It's easy setup. You put your kids in, you put their names in, you can put their first or their last name or a pseudo name. You set it up. It doesn't take a long time. It's super easy, like putting in a contact to your phone. Any more Seesaw? Seesaw going once, going twice? All right. The next one is Flipgrid. I say Flipgrid was transformative in a lot of different ways because it allows you to videotape your students and they have a verbal response. In our standards, speaking is also a standard. So we need to have children practice being articulate. One way to do that is have them use Flipgrid. Another way that I like Flipgrid is because you want to also teach them how to use constructive criticism, not just, oh, what you have to say is stupid, but I have a question about what you said when you said this. So with Flipgrid, teachers can put in a topic. One of the topics that I've used before is how do you prevent bullying? Like at the beginning of the year when you're establishing your classroom culture and you want to have them problem solve or you want to have them come up with a plan. I put that out there. I had each student go to the computer and say, what would be your plan if someone had bullying? So I let them all record it. They could listen to each other and see what they had to say, and they can comment or they cannot comment. And we came up with our plan for our classroom. And it was based on all of them. It also gives you an opportunity, those kids that are not going to raise their hand and speak, they will speak to the computer. Some teachers I've known made a little photo booth. Remember, you like pull the curtain? So they made one like out of cardboard, and the kid just goes in there and they put their face and then they record it. Some teachers say that the kids that will never talk, they will talk candidly in front of the Flipgrid. So you get an opportunity to know what they're thinking. My child was the one that let me blend in with the wall. Please don't call on me. But he would do something like this. You also can do something called Flipgrid Pals. Have you ever like mystery Skype or talk to other classroom? So if you put a question out there, maybe you're doing a book study and you want to collab with other kids. Hey, we're doing a book study and this is what I think about this. What do you think about that? There are other schools that there's a grid and you can connect with other schools, and you all can do pen pals, those old-fashioned things when you put a letter and you stamp on it. Well, we do that in Flipgrid now, and the kids can communicate with each other. Cross grade level book buddies where you can have a lower grade and a higher grade. I've known teachers to use Flipgrid from littles to middle schoolers, where it's very effective, because even when in middle school, they're concerned about if they're looking okay and if their hair is fine, but they don't want to speak out in public also. Questions about Flipgrid?
In a pen pal situation, they can see each other.
Yeah, it records them. So, and you can, privacy, there's like that happy face thing you could put on your face. You can also like put glasses on. There's like, when you go to the next section of it, it will let you disguise yourself if you don't want. Some kids don't and some people don't. Or you can give yourself an avatar, which that's really popular now, and they want to create something and they can use their avatar instead of their face.
Is this an app? Is this an app as well?
You can go to flipgrid.com and it will give you all of the details. And it's really awesome. And there's like tutorials on YouTube. Flipgrid, going once, going twice.
Will we get to see like what it looks like?
YouTube.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Flipgrid
I
is,
saw that.
my next thing is Flipgrid is easy. Setting up, you type in your topic and you can, it tells you, it reads you the instructions, but it's super easy. Don't be intimidated. It's super easy. It's just like making up your contacts in your contact list. For the kids section of it, it has a red button. That means stop. It has a green button. That means go. And they push it, they record, and it tells you, it goes step by step. And so you don't have to read if you're doing littles. They know what to do. All right. Our next one is Google Classroom. Raise your hand if you used Google Classroom before. Yay! Raise your hand if you love the new things Google Classroom can do. Oh, we're not so sure on the new stuff.
I love the new stuff.
All right, new stuff. Yes. We're going to talk about the new stuff.
Like I combine Google Classroom and Class Dojo, and it's
Fantastic. I like that Google Classroom started letting you integrate. Well, one of the things on here, well, since I'm mentioning integration, is the grade book. So you make an assignment. My assignment is, okay, I want you to go to this website, watch this video, and then give me your summary on cause and effect from the video. So you put your lesson in Google Classroom. You put your template in there. You have a Google Doc that you have your question on. They open it, then they type on it. They go back to Google Classroom, they upload it from their drive, and they turn it in, and you never have to carry home a piece of paper. You open up their document, you read it, you comment on it, and you can send it back to them. And you never have to lug home a heavy bag. It's like best thing in the world. Okay, so I love Google Classroom. You can invite parents. I have parents that email me. They're like, why is my student flunking? Because, that happens sometimes. Or we're going on vacation. What work are they doing? Or we were absent. I was absent yesterday. All those questions, go to Google Classroom. What are we doing today? Go to Google Classroom. Where are we? Go to Google Classroom. So I would defer to that. Littles, set it up one time. Make a bookmark. These little doohickeys are my bookmarks. So when I had kindergarten that couldn't really do that, it was cumbersome for them to do all that. If it took me an hour, I set them all up. I gave them a bookmark, and then they could do it my second graders, by the time I taught second grade, we were paperless and they were able to set it up themselves. And now that I teach K through 8, my second graders, they start setting up their own accounts. It's their email address. So it goes whatever, it's already pre-prescribed for your district, wherever you are. And they just learn it and they're fine with it. Their brains have a big capacity to pull all that in. Some of the things that I like about it is that, like I said, if you want them to read an article, we don't have to make copies of the article. We can put the website, they read it. If you have other tech tools, you can teach them how to annotate on the side and make notes instead of making all those copies. I'm all for saving the trees. If you want them to do a survey, you could put your survey in there. Electronic tests, instead of printing out all of those tests. You can put your tests electronically in there and say, here, this is the test that's coming up. If you have a syllabus and you want them to know all the things they're going to be learning, you put that in there. It also makes a drive. So if I have a lot of classes, because I see K through 8, so I can say, oh, well, I'm going to assign this same assignment to 6th grade and 7th grade. I put it in there one time, and then I can go over to my other grade level and I say, hey, I already assigned that. I just want to assign this to this other class too. So you don't have to put the same assignment in more than once. If my kids didn't get to it, I can go back in there and say, oh, let me just move it, and I rearrange it. So they have a lot of different ways that you can integrate and make your life easier, and I'm all about reclaiming your life. So reclaim your life with Google Classroom. Just like with the Seesaw, it has stuff in there, the benefits for the students and the parents. And it takes away a lot of the questions in the organization and keeping up with stuff. Questions about Google Classroom? Yes?
What if you said something about annotating on the side of the article? Do you have a particular thing for that?
Yeah, we need to connect. Yeah.
Well, no, I want to. I thought you had easy.
I have an example, but I have one more gift to give you before my time is up. All right, Google Classroom. The last one is our Flipgrid. So, the last one is our Peardeck. So within our things that we were working on before, I put up the questions. You had to give an answer before we were able to move on. A lot of teachers, they have really amazing content, but then when you get to the end of your lesson and you're asking students questions, you're giving that engagement and they're not saying anything. And you're like, do you even know what happened for the last 20 minutes? So instead of having that wait time, have your questions embedded in, have your ways to interact embedded in within the lesson, within your slides, within your videos, so that you know that they are on track with what you're wanting them to get out of it. And if at any point in time, the answers are not lining up, like when I ask, do you like tech? Are you familiar with it? How comfortable are you with it? Then you can just stop right there and have a reteach or go back and get some more information that you need to bring to the table for the lesson. So it helps you have real-time data that you don't have to wait and find out later. It also engages students because they're like, wow, I get to participate without having to speak. They like that. All of those things. And it also keeps track of the information that as they're recording their answers. So I'll be able to go back in there and I can see on each slide that I put a question, what did they say about this and how did they feel? And then that's another section where you can go back and have reflections personally. So I want to encourage you all for the Peardeck. They have the templates in there already. You don't have to build it. They have the questions in there. The wording is there's a bubble for wording, but you just click it and delete it and put your own wording in there. They have all of the graphics already in there. But it's super awesome. You can make the responses anonymous, or you can have them be where you can see who it is and what's going on. You can have them respond to each other. So I really like that. You make your slide deck and then you download Peardeck from the Chrome Web Store. And all you do is click in that you want to use your Peardeck and it starts up and gives you the code. It's super easy, but you want your kids engaged. If you're doing a staff meeting with grownups, you want your grownups engaged also, and you want to have their feedback other than I do this a lot, and so I'm always looking for the person that's nodding their head, or I'm looking for smiles or some other way. But this is, it's just right there in your face, and we're going to wait for these responses until we move on, or I need to know what's going to happen. So I need your response first. So Peardeck is super easy, and we have a Peardeck professional that is local. He lives downtown in walking distance. He will come to your school and do a Peardeck extravaganza. I have an upgrade for Peardeck. It has different versions. Use the free, but if you want superpowers, reach out to me, and I have the upgrade version. I have a free passcode, so you can reach out to me and you can get the upgrade for free. His name is Nick Park. If you're wanting to, if you're taking notes, Nick Park is the guy. You can find him on Twitter, and he's our Peardeck Kansas City fellow. Questions about Peardeck? Yes, ma'am.
You would recommend Peardeck over like Cool Everywhere earphones?
No, it does the same thing. I say whatever you're comfortable with, or I use a lot of different things. Like I use quizzes. I keep them on their toes. I use Kahoot. They don't know what they're going to get. They just come in. It's a box of chocolates in my room. I switch it up so they don't get bored, and I keep them on their toes. Maybe different subjects. Maybe you do math, you do one thing, and you do ELA, you do another if you're a subject teacher, or depending on the engagement of the class. Like when I pull out Kahoot, sometimes I go, and they get it, and maybe I don't want that kind of response. I need you to be a little bit more deep today. So I need a different type of way that we're engaging. I don't have a preference. Kia said I had a few that I had to pick from, and I couldn't talk to you all day. So this was my bang for my buck. Any more questions about any of the tools? Again, Twitter, yes. Follow anybody on Twitter. You can connect with me. Look and see who I follow. Twitter, people share stuff for free. That's why I got on it, because I don't have money to give people on Teachers Pay Teachers. But if you say, hey, I want this resource, or I want to learn how to do this, people will share with you. If you want to learn how to do something and I don't know, I will learn how to do it, and then I will shoot you the information. On my YouTube page, Mabion's Minute, I do 1 minute. This is my cool tool for today, and I show you about it like I did with you all today, and then it's out there for you to have a little tutorial. So this is me, and this is what I have to offer you today, and I hope that you find one thing that you'll say, I want to do that. And with things like this, when they have a lot of great things, it could be overwhelming. But my advice to you, because I come to a lot of stuff like this, pick one thing and just say, I'm jumping in, and I'm going to jump in with the one thing, and find out resources or people to support you. And then after you master the one thing, pay it forward to someone so they can have an opportunity to be happy like you. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you guys again.